A couple of months ago, I tried the most overkill gaming phone ever. It had liquid cooling, fancy lights, and an actual fan. And before I even touched the phone, I knew I don't like gaming phones. They're a bit silly. So logically, Red Magic sent me another one. For some reason. Somehow they managed to improve it and squeeze out even more performance. This is the Red Magic 11S Pro, and it has S in the name, which probably means speed, or in other words, they probably didn't really improve anything. Regardless, this phone has the fastest processor in the world. So today I want to find out, did they actually improve this phone, or did they just add some numbers? Okay, so the package just came and I got some pretty disappointing news. Like, look at this, they put London, 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 and then what happened here? Where's the fourth London? What if the package got lost? They need to know this was to London. Also, look at this new setup. I have a monitor, I have all this equipment and the new light. I can actually do a proper unboxing now, look. I just changed my top, so it looks like I just showered. Red Magic. Win more games. I sure hope I do. This is kind of cool because this is the first time someone sent me a phone like really early. I'm filming this like 2 weeks before like the upload date. And the video is not sponsored, but they did send me the phone for free. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna be nice, because the last Red Magic video, I was pretty strict. Why is the video so dark? Wait, hold up. Okay, I got a lightsaber. Look at this, this might help. This light's useless. What's in here? And I already ripped this. Wow. We have a... Now, let's see the... Can I not open phones properly? What the hell? Oh, wait. You're supposed to rip this, okay. Okay, you get a charger in a box, orange C2C cable. You have a fan, very clicky buttons. You get a headphone jack, that's sick. There's some app called GoPro. Oh, so this is like a little hub for all the accessories, I'm guessing. We have the game center. Oh gosh, what the hell is this? The last thing we need is just another app store. What is this? This just looks like a bunch of junk. Let's check out the selfie. So comparing these two phones, I was gonna say how similar they look, but obviously I was stupid enough to pick up completely different colors, but I don't discriminate, so let's just see. This is supposed to be the more gangster version of the original 11 Pro. This liquid cooling now has enhanced heat dissipation, whatever that means, and the actual ring inside actually looks more simple now, for whatever reason. And if you see this little strip at the bottom, it now got thinner and the actual liquid flows across the Red Magic text. Nice touch, but at the same time, I can't help but think that this design kind of looks downgraded, because something as cool as this should be proudly displayed. And I already can't take this out in public. Putting this up to my head looks kind of embarrassing, so at this point, just go all out. Just show everything, because the design is so cool. It still has 67 useless cameras, the same fan. The battery is big enough to feed a family of 4, but it still hasn't changed. Same charging, same screen. So what the hell has changed? Well, it's what's on the inside that actually counts. So instead of the peasant Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, they put the 8 Elite Gen 5 Leading Edition. Now, what's that supposed to mean? They took the fastest processor ever, they gave it a Red Bull, and now all of a sudden it just deserves a whole new name now. The processor went from 4.6 GHz to 4.74. That's it. The only reason they can even overclock this thing is because of all this crazy cooling stuff. So for them to only get 100 megahertz, like, that's it. Now I'm a little bit skeptical, because how much faster can this even be? Will this even make a difference? But when I ran Geekbench test on both phones, what do you mean the same score? If you scroll down, first of all, governor name, Walt. I like that name. But you can clearly see that there is an overclock, yet somehow the score hasn't really changed. In fact, it somehow went down a little bit. I then tried Antutu and it literally said that I was using the same phone. And yes, finally, a higher score. That is a massive 3% improvement on the benchmarks. That's crazy. So I think we established that despite the epic name, this is just a refresh. But what if we stopped comparing these phones? What if I just chuck this away, pretend like it never exists. Do you even need all of this crap and all of these fingerprints? And to test that, I actually thought of something cool. So do you know how you can download these emulators on your phone that let you play PS2 or Nintendo DS games? Well, now there are emulators that let you play PC games. Do you remember all those scam videos that are like, oh, if you download this APK, you can play GTA 5 on your phone? We actually got to a point where we can actually do that. And this is through an app called GameHub. It has a pretty cool layout with all your Steam games, and would you look at that, I'm playing Witcher 3 on my phone. What year is this? It finally feels like we have a use for all of this crazy power. Maybe it's finally the time to buy a gaming phone. Unfortunately, when I tested this, it was kind of a mess. So depending on what game you try, in my case it was The Witcher 3, the game might just refuse to launch until you fiddle with the drivers, but like, how are you supposed to know which drivers to select? I don't want to do any research, I just want to play games. So then if you select the wrong drivers, sometimes you might run into some minor graphical glitches. Nothing major, you might not even notice. But then when you finally get the game to work, you might think, wow, 60 FPS, the game looks so good. It's running so smooth and it's pulling almost 20 watts of power. This is amazing. However, just like in real life, all good things have to come to an end. Because literally after like 5 minutes of testing, you can see that the temperature spikes, and I don't even know if this is real, but it said it was 100 degrees. Is that even possible? So then you see the power slowly dropping from 15 watts and then finally to 11 watts. And the frame rate drops significantly, and I can actually feel a lot of lag. But at this point, I was like, do you know what? I have a fan. There's nothing to worry about, apart from that helicopter. I think it's coming for me. And after turning on the fan, the phone never really went above 11 watts. In fact, when I disabled the fan and the water cooling, it still hovered around 9 watts, even dropping to 8 watts. And turning the fan back on only boosted the wattage by like 1 or 2 watts. At which point the phone was stabilizing the temperature anyway, so I feel like the fan didn't really do that much. There is a setting called Diablo mode which cranks everything to the max, but you just can't bypass the laws of physics. If the phone is already overheating, it's not able to draw any more power. For example, when I opened Cyberpunk, all I could do is 2.4 GHz and only 9 watts. That's like half the power that I started with. I opened this menu as soon as the game loaded, and all I could do is 3.6 GHz, and it was already throttling like 10 seconds into the game. So the point I'm trying to make is that the phone starts off amazing, but it just can't sustain all of this power. So using all of this crazy cooling only helps you by like 10-15%, and the performance doesn't really recover. The phone gets extremely hot, and if you're playing something less intensive, that fan isn't even that necessary. So at the moment, emulating PC games is kind of dodgy because of that software, so I wouldn't really recommend getting this just to play your games at like 30 FPS. You can already do that on your normal phone. So if gaming doesn't justify it, what about using this as a normal phone? Because some of the things about this phone are so good that I think other companies should straight up copy this. For example, the back is completely flat. There's no camera bump, unlike this Vivo X300 Ultra that has a whole wheel attached to it. In fact, the camera bump is almost as thick as the entire phone. And because of this is like the only phone that I tested that manages to glide around my desk like some ice cube. Although the battery size is the same, they haven't changed it, it's still like 50% bigger than a Samsung or an iPhone. Despite the fact that it has to accommodate all of this speedy, spinny, swirly, flashy, splashy stuff. And this still has wireless charging, and it's 3 grams lighter than the 17 Pro Max. That is some crazy engineering. And that's kind of where the fun ends, and the curse of the gaming phone enters the chat. As much as I love this full screen display with no selfie cutout, the camera underneath the display is actual ass. It uses so much AI to reconstruct my face, and I don't even know what's real anymore. But at this point, I think everyone already knows that they don't focus on cameras, they don't really care. But at the very least, they could just focus on the software. But let's just start with some good stuff. So if you flip this switch, it takes you into this gaming hub place, and you can find this AI girlfriend called Mora. They clearly understand their demographics, they know exactly who to target. So let's try this. Hello? Anyway, as captivating as it was, we have to be realistic here. In my previous video, I pointed out a lot of the software limitations that this phone has. Like, it has very limited customization to other phones, and there is something very weird that I noticed. So this is the 11 Pro and it's running a slightly older version, but if you go to themes, at the very top you have this red flux thing, which is like this robotic red magic theme. And if you go to Android, you can select this, and then if you go back, you get these stock Android icons that you can customize, which is kind of nice. And then on this new phone, there's a slightly newer software which is not available on that phone. And if you go to themes, what the hell is this section? Like, the icons are missing? What's happening? So when I wasn't filming, I accidentally ticked this option to apply this stock Android feel, but now like I can't select anything else. Like, it's stuck. I can't revert back. What? It's just little things like this that remind me how meh this software is, and some people might call it simple, but I call it unfinished. I understand that most people are not gonna care about this stuff. They just want to play some games. They just want extra performance, but I can't help but feel like this phone compensates for the lack of software with all this insane hardware. You get the absolute best performance with the best specs, the best screen, the best battery, and looking at the base model, you get all of this for so much cheaper than like anything else. But then in return, you get like very crap cameras and very meh software, and it's only supported for like 2 years. There's like a whole 4 people that are gonna benefit from this phone, but if they just focused on the software, this crowd could grow to like 12 people. Anyway, nice refresh, but this is still a pass for me, and if you enjoyed this video, help me reach 100 billion subscribers. Yeah, see you in the next one.